Miss Platoon's here. Hello.
Hi guys, I just have to fix up my camera here. Hold on.
Hi, everyone.
I can
It's bye.
see Carissa, Adam, Rashawn, Joey, Sam, Andre.
There we go. Look who's here.
Hi, Miss Min. Hi, Mrs. Min.
I miss you all.
Sam's giving you a hug.
Oh, big hug. Big hug. Ya no le toques.
Hi Rashawn, glad you made it today. Andres, you're just a couch.
I miss see everyone.
Okay, sit on the wheelchair.
Hey Moises.
What?
Hey Owen. Hey Carissa. Hey Sam.
Hello.
Hey Trish.
Nora.
Yeah.
No, I have to wait.
Whoever is right there.
Oh, look who it is. She's trying to join me.
Axel,
Yeah. Where are you? You're just a couch.
you look younger than you are in the school.
I thought I was the tall giraffe in there.
What?
I thought I was the giraffe.
Many people are here.
Hey, where's your cat today?
Hello?
Oh, Jazzy.
Oh, that's me.
Daddy's here.
Joey.
Hey, what am I now?
I'm gonna show you a remote. It's a remote. I know it's a big deal.
Hi, Jazzy.
When are we gonna read? Carissa. Who called my name? What's my name? Who called my name?
Owen.
Oh, I gotta go.
Hi, you iPad. How you doing?
Everybody.
There were 30 people.
Oh, this is
Axel,
What is and what I gave?
I'm just gonna be a zombie.
So what happened when the chickens crossed the road?
June will be right back.
I ran over by a car.
Habla fuerte.
We can always
Aquí, mira.
we can always
Candy.
Fuerte porque no te oyen.
You guys are going
Habla
to
súper fuerte.
Owen.
Fuerte.
Rasha, how you doing?
Two people.
Dale, decía que-
Can you hear me?
I don't hear anybody.
Hi, Gabe. I think it's freezing.
I need to see who.
Wait, if
Solo haces fuerte.
18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26,
This is Burger King.
27 people on there.
Look at face here.
Owen.
Oh, no, no.
Miles.
Owen.
Look at my lollipop.
Hi, Eleanor. Oh, is that Mia? We got Mia.
There's 27 people on this team.
Wait a minute.
I'm glad you could join us.
Did you get that?
Hi, Faith.
Everybody's literally here.
28.
25.
Sasha.
Oh,
Just
there's
me.
Leo.
6 more people. Oh, Adina is going
Did
to
you see Mrs. Min?
Hello.
Hi, Ariana.
Oh, my name That's the screens at once.
No toques nada, ¿ok?
Ada.
Hey, Miles.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Today is 28 people. 28 people on this. Wait, what? 9.
Hey, Addie.
No toques nada, ¿ok?
29. Yesterday we had 30.
What?
Yeah.
Tell you, yesterday soccer match, this guy got a red card, and this reminds me of you. His stomach got ripped. Like he got a scar over here.
Addie,
yeah.
Addie, your room is
Kicked in
awesome.
the, almost got kicked in the face.
Look at Addie's in there.
So 30 people.
Axel.
30 people.
Hi, Lena. Hi, people.
Owen, this last soccer game reminds me of.
Can I go to my bed? He's too loud.
What is your last name? AKSU.
AKSU.
That's my sister.
Wait, can we go back?
What do you think her is?
Okay, I am going to get ready to mute everybody.
No.
Okay, so you can get ready to listen. Starting now. Can you all hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Yeah? Okay, good. All right. We've got 30 again today. We had 30 yesterday and 30 today. We'll see if we get a couple more before we're done here. And for the first time, I am seeing Sasha. Hi, Sasha. I'm seeing Mia for the first time. Hi, Mia. And somebody else. Oh, Jazzy. We got Jazzy for the first time. We've got the top of her head anyway. Welcome back, everybody. I'm so glad to see you guys. So I wanted to actually, and
I'll just say, I don't want to interrupt your read aloud, so I just wanted to say hello to everyone, and I miss you, and big hugs and lots of kisses, and I'll see you again soon, okay?
Okay. Mrs. Min has been helping Emily and Miss Yercy and me with all kinds of things all week long, and she photocopied all of the worksheets. So if you guys have your worksheets, some of you have them, some of you can come and pick them up still. She had both photocopiers running yesterday. She had the big one in the main building and the little one in the elementary building, and she was hustling back and forth. She'd start a job at the big copier, and then she'd come back to the elementary and finish up a job and start another one, and then she'd go back to get all of that done for you guys. And she is going to be taking care of the pets while we're not able to be in school. So we're very grateful to her. Yes, Nigel, go ahead.
Are you in your normal spot where we do read aloud?
I'm adjacent to my normal spot. Here, I'll go like this. Can you see what's behind me? Can you see where I am now? I'm sort of in front of the sink. Okay. Now, that brings me to, I want to review the rules really quick for the new people that have just joined us for the first time. So very quickly, the rules are, I'd like you to be dressed when you come to read aloud, please. A lot of you are hanging out and probably in your pajamas for much of the day when you're not going anywhere, which is great. But when you come to our Zoom meetings, I'd like you to be dressed as if you were coming to school, although you don't have to wear shoes. And the other rule is that I want to make sure you know that your parents are aware before you join a Zoom meeting for school. Okay? Just, they don't have to be right next to you, but they have to know that you're online. Okay? Those are the rules. I see a couple hands up. Now, Leo and Carissa, let's try something, because I learned something new this morning about Zoom, but I haven't tried it yet. So you guys can try it for me. So let me look at my instructions one more time. So if you guys look at the bottom of your screen, you might have to touch it with your mouse or with your finger to make the little menu bar pop up. Do you guys have a menu bar?
Yes.
And if you look at the menu bar, is there a spot that says participants? Anybody see that? If you click on participants, it should come up with a different little bar that says chat, raise hand, and something else I can't read. Camera. Does anybody see a spot where they could click raise hand? Svea did it. Carissa did it. Leo did it. Addie did it. So once again, you're going to look for your menu bar. Rashawn got it, where it says participants. And then click that, and it should show you the button that says raise hand. Owen got it. Nigel got it. Andres got it. Sam got it. Good. Joey got it. Excellent. Oh, Axel and Aksu have it.
Miss Fortune,
Yes.
where's the button?
Well, Alina, unfortunately, I know this all seems like I'm magically in your living room right now, but I can't see your computer. I can only see mine.
Find the thing that says raise hand.
So it's okay if you didn't find it this time. I will still respond if you put your hand up like this. I'll still try to call on you.
Yeah.
But if you click raise hand, then what I see is a little blue hand comes up right over your face. And then I know, because you know how yesterday I was trying to call on you, but I couldn't quite tell who had raised their hand first. The really cool thing is that when you click the raise hand button, not only do I see your little blue hand icon go up, but also I get a little list over here, and it puts you automatically in the right order. So I can see who raised their hand first. Isn't that cool? So you may go ahead and unclick raise hand for now. Let's just clear the hands off the board completely.
Wait, how do you unmute? How do
do
you
Lower hand, Mama. Lower hand.
how do you lower the hand?
I think you just click that same button again. Yeah, looks like it worked. Okay, so if I will be reading, of course, but if you need me, you can use that raise hand button, okay?
You can use your finger to.
The other announcement
Okay.
is,
你知道了，自己点啊。
the other announcement is, Miss Circe and I have been working hard, as you know, all week, making lessons. Can you just give me a thumbs up if you have watched some of those lessons on YouTube? I see a few thumbs. Good. Great. Good. I'm glad you're seeing those. Now that we've got those up, and we're not finished by any means, we've got lots more to do, but now that we've got some lessons up there for you to stay busy with, we are now talking about ways to resume our meetings and our presentations. So a couple of you have already let me know about presentations that you are working on, or projects that you're working on. I know that there are a couple people doing a project about pangolins, which I'm very excited about. A couple of you have done some lovely artwork. I've been sent pictures of beautiful artwork from a couple of you. You may always take a picture of your work and email it to me, always. But I want to put another possibility out there. And this does require your parents' permission. I would like to offer you that if you would like to make a presentation to the group, we could do that in a Zoom class meeting like this. We would set a time and we would put an invitation out to everyone, and you could be the presenter and everyone could watch your presentation from home. Or if you don't want to do it live, you could ask your mom or dad to video you making the presentation, and then they could just, I could give them the instructions on how to upload it, or they could send it to me and we'll upload it. So obviously that has to be with your parents' permission. And it's okay if it doesn't work out, but I want to put that option out there. And then as far as our meetings go, I really miss having those one-on-one meetings with you guys. So I'm going to be starting next week. I'm going to be opening up some time slots for our meetings to start up again. And they will be either me and you with a parent sort of hanging out and listening from the perimeter, or it could be a meeting with you and your parents. If, for example, you've been trying to explain to them how you do geometric formation and they are having trouble following, you could, and they're not sure if you're doing it right and you're not able to get the help you need, that's a good thing for us to have a meeting about, and I could help you and your parent together. Or in some cases, maybe it's just going to be me and the parent. But anyway, the meetings are going to start up hopefully next week. So I will be emailing your folks about that tomorrow. Okay? All right, so that's it for my announcements. Shall I get to the book? Shall I start reading? Yes? Okay, so everybody's got their knitting and their sketching and their Legos and their kitty cats and their pooches. Okay. All right, so for those who weren't with us yesterday, hopefully you got to watch the video. Our new book is called The Magic Misfits by Neil Patrick Harris, and we're on chapter 2. I'm not even really sure how to catch you up because a lot happened, but we left off with Carter having hopped a train out of town. So we're gonna pick up where we left off. Oh, I remember now.
I don't like this book.
Uh-oh. Okay. Carter placed his satchel underneath his head like a pillow, then drifted off to sleep, dreaming about hope and fate and destiny and adventure, as well as a fleeting thought or two about the possibility of magic. Chapter 2. Surprise, it's time for a little flashback. I understand how frustrating it is to pause a story right in the middle of the action, but there are a few things you should know about Carter before I tell you what happens next. Things like, who is this kid? And why is he running? And who is the man he was running from? I promise we'll get back to Carter's escape soon enough. And if we don't, I'll let you lock me up in a tight straitjacket with no key. Oh, the horror! But anyway, onward. Carter learned how to do magic tricks from his uncle, and they were just that, tricks. There was no magic involved. How could there be? Everyone knows there is no such thing as magic, or so Carter believed. At a very early age, Carter stopped trusting in wonderful, happy, fantastic things. It wasn't his fault. Sometimes bad things happen to good people. You see, Carter was born to two lovely people. His mom had a smile that shone like the sun on a perfect day at the beach, and his dad could pull coins out of ears and make a deck of playing cards vanish into thin air. They all lived in a tiny red cottage with white trim on a wooded and winding road outside a small northern city. One afternoon, when Carter was only a few years old, both of his parents failed to come home. They also failed to come home the next day, or the day after that. When the babysitter called the police, Carter hoped it was only one of his father's tricks. But after another day passed with no word, Carter had to face the cold, hard truth. His parents were not coming back. It was their final vanishing act. Young Carter was taken in by a distant relative named Sylvester Sly Beaton. For the sake of convenience, we will call him Carter's uncle. Uncle Sly was a wiry little man who always dressed in a brown tweed suit with frayed seams and patches that covered moth-eaten holes. Joey, did you have a question? I don't see Joey. Joey has taken a break. Okay. Did you have a question, Joey?
No.
Okay, your hand is up. Your blue fake hand is up. There you go. Okay. That was a good test, though. All right. Uncle Sly wore his long, greasy hair tied back in a messy ponytail, and the whiskers of his patchy beard barely covered his pointy chin. Uncle Sly told people he got his nickname because he was like a fox, but Carter always thought that his uncle looked more like a weasel, which made sense because Uncle Sly often acted like a weasel too. The man was not thrilled to have to look after Carter, and Carter was not thrilled to live with this weasel. But that's what the circumstances were, and so Carter made the best of them. Like Carter's father, Uncle Sly knew magic tricks. He could hold a tissue up to Carter's nose and make him sneeze a waterfall of coins into a glass. Then one by one, Uncle Sly would make the coins disappear. This blew Carter's mind. Well, his mind and his nose. Carter begged his uncle to show him how to do magic. Eventually, Uncle Sly saw that there might be a benefit in having an assistant, and so he taught Carter everything he knew. It turned out Carter was a natural-born magician. Soon enough, Carter was doing all of Uncle Sly's tricks, only better. Carter had a special talent. His fingers were long and his tendons were taut, which gave him fast hands and expert card shuffling skills. He could make coins vanish and reappear across the room. He could materialize playing cards out of thin air. He even revised Uncle Sly's sneeze trick, using ice cubes instead of coins, which was rather impressive given the size of the average human nostril. Now, Uncle Sly wasn't the type of man to celebrate his young nephew's ability to change up his oldest and best illusion. But he was smart enough to notice an opportunity when it was sneezing ice cubes right in front of him. So on Carter's birthday, instead of throwing him a party, Uncle Sly decided to test him. He sent the boy up to a random couple on the street to perform his very first show. As Carter approached, he nervously slicked his blonde mop of hair to the side, pinched his pale cheeks, and opened his blue eyes wide. The couple seemed happy to stop for him. First, Carter presented a deck of cards and asked the woman to choose one and keep it hidden between her two hands, making sure not to show him. Now hold on to it tight, he said, while I guess which card you picked. Is it the Queen of Diamonds? It is, the woman gasped. But when she opened her hands to look, she yelped, the card is gone! Is it? Carter asked, holding it up in his own hand. How did you do that? The man asked. With magic, of course, Carter said. Though the words were just words, Carter didn't believe in real magic, but he knew a thing or two about making people pay attention to one thing while he distracted them from something else. Growing bolder, he added, now, would you mind giving me back the card you've taken, sir? I didn't take a card, the man said. Then what is that in your pocket? The man reached into his breast pocket, and sure enough, the King of Diamonds was inside. The couple laughed. With a flick of his wrist, Carter produced a bouquet of colorful paper flowers. He presented it to the woman, then took a bow just like Uncle Sly had taught him. The couple clapped and clapped and clapped. The lady kissed Carter on his cheek. The man gave him a nickel. Carter's proud uncle shook both their hands before hustling Carter away. Carter beamed like the sun. He had brought joy to the young couple. In earning their smiles, he recalled his own two parents and their laughter. He didn't care that there was no party. It was still a very good birthday. At least until later, when Carter realized his uncle had stolen the man's wristwatch and the woman's wedding ring. Uncle Sly had used him. Carter knew too many stories in which villains stole from innocent people. These stories always made him feel as if someone had stolen his parents from him. What was left of that earlier good feeling squeezed out of him like a balloon with a leak in it. Uncle Sly was not an ideal guardian by any stretch of the imagination. Quite the opposite. You already know that he was a thief, but you should also understand that he was a con artist, someone who cheats others by getting them to believe something that isn't true. Carter's uncle enjoyed short cons. This means he didn't go in for long-term scams that took days or weeks to pull off. He did it as quickly as possible, robbing money or valuables off of people in the blink of an eye. By the time they realized they'd been robbed, Uncle Sly was gone. This was the reason why Carter never had a home. He had never had friends or his own bedroom. He had never gone to school or had a place that made him feel safe. He and his uncle slept in shelters on good days and in dark alleys on bad ones, constantly moving from town to town to town. After all, when you're in the habit of making other people's things vanish, it's best that you know how to vanish too. Sometimes Uncle Sly even disappeared for days at a time, leaving Carter behind. Carter wouldn't know where his uncle had gone, if he was hurt or in trouble, or if he'd ever see him again. Yet Uncle Sly would always come back without a word of explanation. Carter knew better than to ask where he had been, especially with the cruel and angry glint in Uncle Sly's eye, along with the scrapes and bruises that told their own story. Left alone, Carter would practice his tricks or find the closest library. He loved to lose himself in books about ideas like hope and strength and wonder, but also about things like train engineers, gymnastics, and pirates. Over time, he became good at fending for himself. He also became an expert cartwheeler and dreamer of sugary treats. As the year went by, Carter's patience began to wear down. His uncle was a crook. Carter knew that. Yet he kept hoping that Sly would suddenly pick a town and get a job and settle down. Perhaps it was a slim hope, maybe even an impossible hope, but hope was one of the few things Carter had in his possession, at least until a particularly brisk spring night. "See that man over there?" Uncle Sly whispered to Carter. "I want you to go over and nick his watch." The word nick, while usually a man's name, can also mean to steal. "How many times have I told you," Carter said, "I don't steal." He'd come up with this rule years ago when he'd figured out what his uncle really did. He promised himself he would never be like his uncle, no matter what. It had been Carter's code ever since. "You little," Uncle Sly growled as he grabbed Carter roughly by his shirt. A cop appeared, walking down the street, twirling his baton. Uncle Sly put on a bright smile and hugged Carter close like a valued son. "A ball of sunshine. Oh, good evening, officer." The officer nodded and kept walking. When the cop was out of sight, Uncle Sly took Carter by the collar and snarled, "Fine, then keep a lookout while I work." Carter's uncle's idea of work wasn't typical. He didn't invent the hula hoop or operate heavy machinery. He didn't grow rhubarb on a farm or train zoo snakes to not bite children. Uncle Sly's idea of work was a con artist's version of work, stealing from others. Carter's fingers rubbed over the rectangular shape in the side of his leather satchel. All that he owned fit into this bag. It contained a deck of playing cards, 3 cups, 3 coins, one of which had a deep scratch down its face, some marbles, an extra pair of socks, a rope, his newsboy cap, and a small wooden box with the initials LWL on it. The box appeared to be sealed shut with no way to open it, but Carter didn't care. It was the only thing he had left of his parents. "I'd rather just go back to the halfway home," Carter whispered to Uncle Sly. "My stomach doesn't feel good." Yes, Leo, do you have a question?
What's chart?
Say that again, please.
What's chart?
Chart. Huh, you mean Carter?
No, chart.
I'm trying to figure out where we said that word. Oh, huh. If it comes up again, raise your hand again, okay?
Okay.
Okay. "I'd rather just go back to the halfway home," Carter whispered to Uncle Sly. "My stomach doesn't feel good." "It's called a halfway house," Uncle Sly snapped. "I won't have you acting all sentimental-like. That kind of thinking can be dangerous for folks like us. Now, pull up your britches and get ready to help me out, would ya?" Carter swallowed a groan as Uncle Sly searched the street for a victim. Minutes later, the cop reappeared, strolling slowly, looking inside shop windows. Carter whistled, a signal telling his uncle to stop whatever criminal act he was doing. As the officer moved around the corner, Carter looked left and right for any others on patrol. When the coast was clear, he gave Uncle Sly a nod. Uncle Sly ducked into the mouth of an alleyway and spoke to strangers who were passing by. Hey, check this out. See how easy it is to win? Step right up. I have an easy enough game for you. Double your money in a single minute. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. The strangers must have liked hearing the word easy so many times because they stopped at Uncle Sly's folding table. Carter preferred Uncle Sly while he worked. When his uncle ran a racket, not a racket for playing tennis, mind you, but another way of saying tricking someone, he shone as brightly as a 1,000,000-watt light bulb. He became funny and charming and quick as electricity. His smile made old women blush, angry men applaud, and crabby babies ready to hand over all their lollipops. Andres, did you have a question? Did you raise your hand on purpose? Uh-oh, can't hear you. I can't hear you for some reason. Here we go. Let's try. Andres?
I think that, yeah?
Go ahead, I can hear you now.
I think that the man chasing Carter was Uncle Sly.
I don't remember. We'll have to see in a minute, won't we? Okay, Alina, go ahead. Uh-oh. I'm sorry, Alina. Say that one more time, please.
Why are babies carrying lollipops?
Yes, good question. We don't usually give babies lollipops, do we?
No.
No, we don't. Maybe they did in whenever this story is set. I don't know if it's, does it feel like it's in modern times? Or maybe
Yeah,
a while ago?
probably.
Good question. Let's keep thinking about it. Okay. Danny, yes?
Okay.
You're good? Did you have a question, Danny?
How did his uncle teach him the magic tricks?
Well, I think we're going to learn more tomorrow. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. How about Nigel? Nigel, what did you want to say?
I see some people's hand, like some of the like Sam and stuff like that. They have like their things unmuted.
Yeah, you can see the little blue icon that's showing that you raised your hand, right?
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
like when I look at like Sam's like screen, it shows like he's unmuted.
Isn't that cool? Oh, you're worried about him being muted or not? Yeah, I'm finding it a little tricky because I've got a bunch of hands up now I can see. And I'm trying to manage those, and I'm finding it a little tricky to manage all the muting and unmuting while I do that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you're trying to pay attention to the job I'm doing, huh? Okay.
I guess so.
How about Joey? Did you have something you wanted to say, Joey?
Yeah. How old is Carter?
Did they say? I'm not sure if they said. Old enough to jump on a train, so maybe your age or older. Don't you think? Sam. Your hand was up, Sam. What did you want to say?
Why is he living with a thief?
Why is he living with Uncle Sly?
Yeah.
Hold on a second here. His parents just disappeared one day.
Yes, but why didn't he just run?
Because it was an unpleasant living situation. You think he should have just run away? Yeah, I wonder. Maybe it'll explain more as we read more of the story. How about Eleanor?
How old is Uncle Sly?
1 second there, Eleanor. I'm having a little trouble hearing you. Try that one more time, please.
How old is Uncle Sly?
I don't know that it said. What do you think?
He was an old man, but I'm not really sure.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Maybe my age or somewhere in that neighborhood. A grown up, old enough to know better.
Hi.
Hi, Imogen. Okay, and then it looks like, who's this? I think I'm seeing everyone. Oh, that helps me to go to the next screen. It's Ava I'm looking at. Here we go. Oh. Ava, what did you want to say? Ava, let's try that again, okay? Oh. Ava, I have you, you're not on mute, but I can't seem to hear you. I'm not sure what that's about. I don't know if your microphone is working, sweetheart. Okay, try again now. Uh-oh, I still can't hear you. Oh, that's too bad. I'll come back to you, Ava, okay? If you get it working, I'll come back. How about Ada?
Why did Uncle Sly choose to be a thief anyway?
Well, that is a great question. Why does someone choose that kind of life? What do you think?
Like, you can't get anything for being a thief.
Well, you get something in the immediate.
True, but like not in a good way.
But not in a good way. No, definitely not. And I think you guys all value your honest relationships with your family and friends a little too much to risk turning to a life of crime, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a good deal. Okay, let's try Ava one more time. Ava, go for it. Oh boy, okay, here, I have to make you bigger so I can see what's on there. Oh, this is beyond my capabilities. Hold on, Ava, I'm working on it. What is a halfway house? What a great question. Thank you. What an excellent question. So I'm going to mute everybody. Boy, we're covering all kinds of tough subjects. So a halfway house is a place where sometimes people go there if they are in between homes. So for some reason, perhaps they've lost their job or they have had some other kind of trouble and they don't have somewhere to live. The type of place they might live temporarily could be called a halfway house. It also sometimes is a place where someone goes if they have had trouble with the law and they have served a prison sentence and they're free now because they've paid for their crime and they're free, but they, it takes some time to find a job and get your life back together after that. So that's a place where someone who's down on their luck would be staying. So that explains, if Sly is making a living as a thief, that probably means he's been to prison once or twice. It probably means he doesn't always have money. Sometimes he has a lot if he's been successful at stealing, and then sometimes he doesn't have any. So they might have to stay in a place that's not really set up for people to live permanently, but just a temporary type of place. Does that answer the question? Great. Ava, good problem solving to get that question asked. I really admire that you kept trying and you found a way. Good job. All right. Well, guys, I sure have enjoyed seeing you all today, and I got to see some folks I haven't seen in a whole week, so I really loved that. And we had 32 in Read Aloud today. That's our record so far. So I'm going to unmute you now so that you can all do your giggling and your waving and your pet showing off and all of that. Don't go get a pet, but if you happen to have one on your lap right now. And like there, I see Wrigley already. And so I'll unmute you and we'll give you a couple of minutes to say hi and bye, okay? It was great to see all of you. Oh, by the way, I won't be with you tomorrow. It'll be Mrs. Schneider with you tomorrow for Read Aloud, okay? And I will send you the link so you'll tune in with her. And then I will be back with you on Monday, okay? Amelia, don't sit on your brother. Okay, you are wait, sorry, I did it wrong.
You muted me.
There you go, you're unmuted. Bye, guys.
Owen. Asha.
Owen, I see your connects back there.
Hi, Nora.
Hi, Nora.
Yes.
Okay, kids. So learn this is. No, learn what this is. This is a remote. This is the on button.
Owen,
Hi.
I see that connects in the background.
Yeah.
Hi.
Owen.
Gosh, there's so many people.
Bye, Eleanor. Hi, Nora. Hi, Mrs.
Hi, kids.
Eleanor.
People keep on moving.
Hi, Rashawn.
Hi. You know what? I'm just a until server.
Look at me.
Nora.
Sasha.
Hi, Gavin. Hi. Hi, Gavin. Hi. Hi, Gavin. Hi.
What Axel?
Hi.
I just wanted to tell you that I built my roller coaster. I built my connect. I built mine.
See you like in 1 second.
Eleanor.
Hey, Greta, that looks good. I like it. Nice job. Bye, Lucy. Jazzy.
Hi, Gavin. Hi, Gavin. Hi, Gavin.
How much kids
We're
are
going
in?
to close down in 5, 4,
Bye.
3,
Bye.
2,
Bye, everyone.
1. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.